wallets and for our product lines, and yeah, more to hear about that later.
Fantastic. Well, we're excited to share what we're doing, and it's a pretty cool time to be working in this industry, I'd say. So it's a little bit tough with the price today and yesterday, but we just need to keep building and moving forward.
Yeah, those markets or market times are meant to be building, and quality projects will come out even stronger.
That's correct. That's correct. That's our philosophy as well. So
Perfect. Okay. Um, I would say it's just 1 minute after our official start. Um, we can get started if you want to. I'm pretty sure one of the other people are still joining in later. Um, okay, so for everybody, welcome to our voice AMA on Discord. This is the very first time we are doing this format, so very exciting for us as well. And with us today, we have Brian Benson, the Chief Operating Officer for Cubechain. Brian, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's correct. And yeah, overall, Cubechain is a high performance and modular blockchain, which is supporting multi-chain architecture, and with one of the use cases or not use cases, but with the vision of scaled blockchain capabilities to yeah, new performance peaks that haven't been possible before. It's a layer one blockchain, but I'm pretty sure, Brian, you wanna explain a little bit later more regarding this technical topics and what kind of benefits you can offer to the industry.
okay, fantastic. Well, that's quite the introduction. Thank you very much, Lud. Uh, uh, Again, yeah, like he said, my name is Brian Benson, and it's really an honor to be here, and to sharing with everyone. And I will do my best to answer any other questions that may come up after we go through a few of the ones that we have prepared to discuss about.
Mm-hmm.
But please let me know, if there's something that I can't answer on the call today, then we can follow up with the community and with the group so that everyone gets their questions answers and is aware of what our project's all about. So um, with that,
Perfect.
I don't know if you want me to give a brief overview of the project first, or if you want to just jump right into the questions and answers, or what you think is
Um,
best.
first, I would like to maybe put up some organizational things. For example, you guys provide $500 worth of Cube token as rewards for this voice AMA, which is amazing. Um, we have some Twitter winners, 20 winners overall. We're gonna share the winners via our Twitter social channels after the event. And apart from that, there also will be the possibility for the community to ask questions. If you don't want to use the voice AMA or the voice option, feel free to just pop your questions in the text. And yeah, after the questions I prepared for you, Brian, we can move on to the questions of the community. Yeah, but before we actually jump into the questions I prepared for you, maybe you want to give a quick overview of your project for everybody to get a small introduction.
Yeah, well, that would be great. Thanks again, Lud. It's our project is really quite a simple one with a lot of complexities. That's the way I like to think of it. But we're really trying to bring a next level layer one solution that will be able to meet the needs of Web3 and of the future of what we believe is going to be an amazing transformation of the way people consume not only information but value as well. So Cube is a high performance, highly scalable, modular layer one public blockchain, and we've built it from the beginning to be capable of supporting multi-chain and cross-chain architecture. Now, this has been made at at the beginning by being compatible with EVM and Cosmos ecosystems. But we have a long ways to go to true interoperability and multi-chain and cross-chain capabilities. So that's a project and a work in progress, I would say, for the life of Cube. But we're actively committed to participating in the development of centralized cross-chain protocols and to bring Web3 infrastructure to the users and to the content creators and to those that are going to be consuming it in the next generation for what we believe is going to be a multi-chain experience. So Cube values innovation and community, and through our nonstop technological innovations, we hope to help be a part of building this Web3 future. So yeah, that's pretty much a little bit about the project, what we're trying to do. Pretty aspirational goals, but I think with the team that we have behind us, we have a good shot at making something really special here.
Awesome. Wow. That's a great introduction. And we also, yeah, support the multi-chain environment with cross-chain technologies. And we also believe this is the way to go for the future. And yeah, nice to hear that you also followed this vision with your protocol. Um, I also read that yeah, the principle of layered architecture and data availability layer, which is one of the yeah, core features or functionalities of Cubechain, is is a crucial point. So what exactly is data availability, and is it some kind of data storage, what Crust is doing, or is it or what is the difference if not? Can you maybe yeah, extend on that a little bit?
Absolutely, and I think that's a good question to start with because of what Crust is doing, and I think so many people do mix these two concepts up, like data availability or data storage, and so let me just try and answer it as basically as I'm able to. But obviously it goes a little bit deeper than this, but what is data availability is basically the answer to the question, is the data behind the given block actually available and been published to the network? So it's so very important to understand because it's fundamental to the idea of a modular blockchain and how the security will work. So in order to know this, if the new state update is valid, for example, you have to be able to know what the transactions behind this state are and what they're updated. And so data availability is this idea that you're able to know if the data behind the block is there for someone to see and if it's verifiable. And it's crucial that you're able to do this without downloading all of the data because that's where we run into some scalability issues and problems. So because of the bold way that we're doing this, so it's just to download the whole data system um, behind the block to make sure everything is right and in order, or are there other better ways to verify this without having to go through this and have the entire block data be downloaded? So the solution to this is data availability sharding, and through this we're able to know that all the data behind the block is valid without having to download the entirety of the block. And this is the basic concept behind it. And it's gives us the ability to scale to bigger block sizes without needing to increase the power to the nodes and the nodes and have that be the central issue to scalability. So that's my best answer. I hope that makes sense to some people. There are obviously other sources to read more about this, but that's kind of an overview way that I like to think about it.
Hmm? Wow. That's well explained, and I think for everybody who's new to this concept, that makes it easy to understand. And isn't it or wouldn't it be possible to increase the node's power to, let's say, perform this workload, or what's the problem with that issue, or what's the problem with that solution, or let's say workaround?
Well, no, it's definitely a potential solution, but and a very good point. Um, so in other blockchains, if you want to have them be bigger and have bigger blocks, then you have to have more powerful nodes. And the more powerful the nodes, the less likely it is that anyone can run a node. And this is where we get into issues of centralization, of censorship, of, how many people can and want to run these powerful nodes, and then this gets centralized. So ideally, what we see is everyone that has a laptop or a cell phone or a desktop computer can participate in the network, and that would be the ideal. So again, if you want to have a fast blockchain, you want to have bigger blocks, but you also want your blockchain to be decentralized for security and stability reasons. And that's what we're talking about here. So that's why you don't want to increase the node's power again and again and make it just a node power race, because then inevitably it leaves the decentralized side part of, to the side. And that's how you get these types of scaling problems that we're discussing. So the data availability is really the key to solving this problem, or one of the major keys. And when I say data availability, I don't mean that everyone has to download the full history of the chain. And that's just a confirmation that the data behind the chain is public and valid and can be verified at any time. So that's, I think, a little bit about why we see the node power increase as not the solution.
Yeah, I totally agree with you on the point of decentralization. The higher the hardware requirements and the higher the entry barriers, the less likely is that you achieve like a really high degree of decentralization, because in the end it will be run by a few entities that can afford to provide this kind of infrastructure. That's also one thing we kind of envision for Crust Network, to provide a protocol and offer a protocol that makes it really easy for everybody to join the network. And that's also very important for us to achieve decentralization, like with for you guys. But you talked the whole time, or you mentioned a few times, downloading the entire history of a chain of current blockchains. But there also are some kind of architectures or infrastructures where networks work with light nodes or light clients, and they don't have to download all the history of behind the block. Um, is there an issue with that?
Well, no, there's no issue with it. It's just, it is what it is, and you're right. There are light nodes, there are light, all sorts of things that they put the word light in front of, and they expect it to work the same as the full one, that's such as clients or nodes or things like this. But in my experience, they do what's called the honest majority assumption, which full nodes don't make, and so that's kind of where you get the difference. So it means that you're trusting validators who are assuming information, and to put it frankly, it allows you to follow the chain, but with a much lower security. So light clients and light nodes are not really verifying anything on chain. They're just using assumption based logic to be able to do their thing. So I think they're actually good, but if we want to talk about Cubechain, as we've mentioned before, the data availability layer, and now I think it's important for the rest of us for us to understand a little bit about what the modular layered architecture is, and what the differences between a monolithic and a modular blockchain are. So yeah, light nodes are okay and good. They're just, it's not the same thing.
Yeah, cool. That explains a lot. And I guess that's where you guys come into play. Maybe you can talk a little bit more about what's the difference between monolithic and modular blockchains.
Absolutely. So as we mentioned before, Cubechain is a modular blockchain, so it's built in different layers, let's call it. And let me briefly describe, before we go to a modular blockchain concept here. So Cube chain is a layer one public chain with modular architecture that supports both multi-chain and cross-chain functionality. And we've made this chain as well fully compatible with EVM and the Cosmos ecosystem. So these are a couple of the key things that set us apart. So what is modular architecture? Well, Cube separates its core functions, and this is what modular does, of a blockchain into subcomponents. layered on top of each other. And we can call this layers, or we can call it vertical splitting, but it's achieved the same results as traditional monolithic structure blockchains, but with much higher security, speed, and decentralization. So the core functions are consensus, data availability, and execution. And that's why Cubechain is divided into these three distinct layers: the execution layer, which is what we want to call the top layer, the settlement layer, and then this data availability layer. And I guess everyone knows a little bit about consensus. It's how blockchain participants are agreeing on what is happening and when and in what order, and make that an immutable part of the blockchain. Um, I think there's no need for a bunch of explanation here. And what the data availability layer does, we've described a little bit above. So let me talk a little bit about the consensus layer. We actually achieve scalability by offloading transaction process from on-chain to off-chain while keeping it on-chain focused on validating the results. So that's a little bit about how we're going to plan on doing it. It's a little more complex than that, but basically, if you can think about it in the execution, the settlement, and the data availability layers, that's the best way to think about it. And then yeah, I think that that's a little bit different than the way that the monolithic one was created and developed. So maybe that answers your question.
Oh, very, very interesting. I saw we already have some questions popping up in the in our voice group. I will ask the participants to give us maybe a few minutes more to go through our prepared questions, and then we are ready to go ahead with your individual ones. Um, so how do you do that? Do you use rollup technology for those off-chain transactions you're talking about?
Yeah, that's exactly what we're doing. So we're using roll-up technology as the main implementation of the execution engine, and then splitting the transaction process into two parts. The first is through combining a large number of transactions executed off-chain, and the second is to submit them as one to the main chain for validation. So this is the general idea. And the original data of the transaction is packed and stored on the chain, which reduces the amount of data that can be sent to the main chain and enables faster and cheaper transactions. And reaching in the hundreds of thousands of TPS transactions per second. So that's usually how rollups work. Now, there's obviously different kinds of rollups: optimistic, ZK rollups, and all of them have different pros and cons, or advantages and limitations. So at Cube, we consider fast transaction validation critical, and that's why we prefer ZK rollups as our execution layer. So ZK rollups, or zero knowledge rollups, may have many benefits, but due to the complexity of their zero knowledge proof technology, a fully universal and reliable ZK EVM is not yet available. So this is actually technology that's in development, and we have some of the premier scientists in the world working on this, people with PhDs, people from backgrounds of all different companies like Apple, Alibaba, Binance, all sorts of amazing companies. So we're really convinced that this is the route, but it's not yet a developed ecosystem that's available on the market yet. So that's why Cube has built in templates for a lot of the common applications as well. So like DEXs and lending and things like that, so people can have different types of integration capabilities and make it a little easier for our developers. One other thing that I'll mention is we came up with our own concept of collaborative rollups that's fully EVM compatible, and we're, again, like I said, working on this technology as one of the key components to our chain. So it'll offer fast transaction validation and aiming to provide a good alternative to ZK rollups until this technology is further developed and can mature a little bit more. So we're excited about the technology. We feel like we're going to be part of the research and development that's being done to bring this technology to the market, and we're pretty proud to be a part of that.
Oh, sounds like you're doing some awesome pioneer work at Cubechain. So I'm excited to see what's still to come in the future. And And one more thing is you mentioned that the modular architecture is perfect for scalability. Um, but are there any other benefits you can make use of by using this modular architecture?
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, the first one is security. Like, if we're trying to bring in the next billion people and the next $10 trillion, people don't want to lose their money. People, I think that's where the
Yeah.
rubber meets the road. And so I think security is the number one thing that I would say. But this also combining this with the data availability sharding. I think the rollups and the fraud proofs basically mean that any user can participate in verifying on the chain. And I think this is going to make it a lot more secure, a lot more decentralized. So a lot of people don't understand the simple fact that they have access to the blockchain through centralized structures. In one example today would be like Infura, maybe. That means that you have access to the chain through the intermediary. So why trusting someone if you can participating in the network directly yourself? That's kind of what we're trying to say. So that's exactly what you can do with this type of modular architecture, and you don't have to go through a centralized type of feed like that. So another reason is the flexibility with execution environment, and there's much better cross-chain interoperability. So I think between security, data availability, environment, cross-chain interoperability between ecosystems, I think it gives you a lot of advantages, not just the scalability one.
Wow. Awesome. Yeah. That sounds like it, definitely. Um, what's ahead for Cubechain? Can you maybe give us a little peek into your future plans? What are the milestones you want to hit in the future? And also, what's the main focus right now for your team?
Well, we're building as fast as we can, and we're not letting the bear market slow us down. We're actually hiring more people, gaining more momentum. But we launched our test net just over a month ago on the 10th of May, and so we launched our main net this Monday. Excuse me, last Monday, which was the 6th, I believe. And so
Mhm.
I think we're doing pretty good hitting our steps. You can see that our token is so far has been a solid one. We don't want to rely only on the value of the token, but we're also looking at significant metrics such as transactions, total value locked, market cap, and these kinds of things. So we're pretty excited about the future. We think that we've come around at the right time and have, amazing partners behind us backing us up. So, but speaking from each layer, the execution layer, Cube will keep up with the latest developments in the ZK EVM, and we strive to be a leader in that from an engineering and from open source standpoint of with internal self research, R&D, and collaboration. We're going to use it as our default execution engine for this chain, and that's something that we're committed to. In the settlement layer, we will advance our research of consensus protocols, including semi-synchronous networks and pure asynchronous networks. I think are both areas that we're very curious about. Um, and really to support the consensus of large-scale consensus nodes in various network environments. And then lastly, from the data availability layer, we will continue to reduce trust assumptions and improve storage efficiency. So uh, that technology is growing by leaps and bounds, and we feel like between those three things, we can really uh, set a high bar for what we're able to accomplish in this industry and accomplish it in a very short period of time. So yeah, we're pretty excited about the future, Luna. It's good.
Thanks, Brian. Thanks for your detailed explanation. I'm very happy how you answered the questions. I'm quite sure the community enjoyed it so far as well. But now we want to move on to the community-oriented questions. I'm pretty sure there are a few people already in the line. Oh, one dropped out again. But here is back. For the questions, the community questions, we will reward 4 questions with $50 each worth of Cube tokens. provided by Cubechain. And Brian, maybe you can answer all the questions that come up, or let's see how many come up. And afterwards, we can select the four best questions. Does
Okay.
that sound good to you?
Yeah, I'm ready to answer as many questions as possible. I hope that we don't have any stumper questions in the audience, or I might have to do my best to come up with the answer. But no, anything you guys want to ask, I'll if I know the answer, I'm happy to share with you guys. So let's get going.
Perfect. For everybody who doesn't isn't or who isn't in the possession of a microphone at the moment, or who doesn't want to speak up, feel free to use the text AMA channel to drop your questions in. But I'm going to start by opening the mic for for our first question. Let's see. Okay, you're online. Anna,
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, loud and
Hello,
clear. Hello. Hello, I'm
hello,
Abdul.
can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, my question is that please can you share us a link where we can keep ourselves updated? Because there are a
Yeah,
lot of fake accounts that they use your name. So please can you share us a link so that we can keep ourselves updated?
yes, of course. Let me share a couple links. The best place that I've found to go is our Twitter, uh,
Okay.
and that is Cube0x. So
Okay.
you can find us on Twitter at Cube0x, and then
Okay.
I think our Cube Network Telegram channel is also a good place. It's Cube_network. And then I believe we have that one has filled up rather quickly, so it's also Cube_network too.
Okay.
So both of those.
But
But
Brian,
but
you also can forward me all your social contacts and links to my contact, and I will post it in our follow-up channel of the AMA.
okay,
Okay, no
fantastic.
problem.
Yeah, and
Thank you very
also
much.
our website has a lot of like links to our white papers and our GitHubs and these things at cube.network. So you can just find the
Okay.
simple website at cube.network, and that's probably the best three ways to get the verifiable information from us. And I appreciate you saying that because we have run into a lot of
Thank
things in the early launch days of people trying to do scams and people trying to do this. So just bear in mind that the admins will never DM you first, and no one is here is giving financial advice, and do your own research and all the good things that we must say. But yeah, I think the right channel is an important thing. So thank you for the question.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, I hope that answered your question. I will put you in the audience again.
Okay.
Okay, next one was Chucky. Who's your question? You should be live now, Chucky.
Aki Tenzi, you're on mute.
Maybe like some issues with the mic. Feel free to pop your questions in the text box, in the text AMA channel. If
Maybe
not,
I'll jump over. Maybe I'll jump over there while we're waiting, just to see the first ones.
yeah, go
Looks
ahead.
like looks like the first one comes from Mina. What is the ultimate mission at the Cube Network chain trying to achieve in crypto field? Obviously, crypto market will experience huge growth in coming years. So, which role would you like to play in this sector? I think that's a fantastic question because that one's easy for me to answer. It's about our dreams and our vision, and what we'd like to do is bring a super amazing Web3 experience to all the users, so that not only is it really easy for them to use all of these technologies that will be behind it, but it's also can be profitable, can be enjoyable, can bring real things to their lives. So, excuse me, this is probably the number one thing that I see that we're trying to do is we're trying to solve the scalability problem that we've seen up until now in the blockchain space, and we're trying to do this in a very decentralized way so that we are, first and foremost ensuring the security of the funds, but that the network can grow to what we believe is going to be the network of value used across multiple channels, across multiple platforms, ecosystems. So that's the answer there is we're trying to do something really big and we want to be part of the layer one base infrastructure of the ecosystem. So thank you, Mina, for that question. And I don't know if you have anyone else live right now that you'd like to go with.
Yeah, I actually do have a few people. Maybe Chucky, I try you one last time. You still on the line?
Your mic's on mute,
Okay.
it shows us.
But okay, I put him back in the audience. Maybe he can raise his hand again. Okay, we have Freedom. You should be live now. Your mic is still muted. Okay.
Hi. Just a short one. How would you compare Cube to Polkadot, for example, as they are having this multi-chain approach as well?
I think that's a great question, and in some ways, there's similarities to other projects in what Cubechain is doing. So I think that's a very valid question. I think the key difference there would be just the modular architecture that we enjoy. I think that if you go to the guys from Polkadot and you ask them if you could build all over again starting today a brand new chain, how would you do it? I think you would come up with something very similar to what Cube is launching. So that would be my answer. I think that the interoperability, the cross chain, some of these things are key, and there's other projects out there that are doing them well. But I think that from the layer one architecture standpoint, there's a little to be desired with the Polkadot solution, and we feel like we could be a complementary solution to that to many of the transactions that will be coming across Web3 in the coming years and months. So yeah, I hope that answers your question. Not better, no worse, just different from the way that we're built.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Freedom, for your question. If you have another one, feel free to raise your hand again. Otherwise, I put you in the audience for now. The next one would be Jenny. You should be live now. But your mic is still muted.
Can you hear me, guys?
Hi.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, so a blockchain speed and power actually comes from the transaction speed and efficiency. So I want to know, like, on the Q blockchain, what exactly can be done? Can we use it in popular domains like NFTs, metaverse, and different applications? And like, what are the benefits of Cube for like app developers or app development?
So I heard a little bit of a fuzzy question, but I think I got most of it. What is Cubechain going to do for developers? And so I'll just speak to that real quick. And if that wasn't the question, then we can circle back. But I think that's really, if you look at our logo, it's an upside down triangle. So we're not trying to build the same blockchain that has the same, people at the top that we see in the rest of some of the rest of the industry. What we're really focused on doing is having the bottom of the triangle, which is be the user, be the one that drives all of the growth and all of the value in the chain. And I think that the very next layer of that is the developer community, and that's why we are extremely close with the developer community and trying to every day get closer. But we have a lot of different things that we're planning on doing and that we've already started projects on, from grants to scholarships to hackathons to hacker houses to a host of other types of things. And I guess the message that I want to leave you with at the end of this question is that we're 100% committed to working with the developers, and we're committed to making it easy to build on our blockchain, and we're committed to having all of the things that you mentioned and more. Obviously NFT, We have, platforms that are already launching. We already have DEXs launching. We have lending platforms launching. But we feel like there's room for a lot of other projects to grow on our infrastructure and on our technology. So that's one of the key focuses that I have, is helping to make sure that our developer community is being supported in the best way possible, to help us build the best chain, because we can't do it by ourselves. We need the help of amazing projects to come over and build on our technology. So hope that answers your question.
Okay. Can I say something else?
Sure, go ahead.
So I don't know. Can you quickly comment on the transaction speed and programmability of the Cube blockchains as compared to other companies?
Yeah, so right now our transaction speed, we have a design and an architecture for millions of transactions per second. But obviously, since we've launched a week ago, we don't have quite that number yet. I think that's pretty obvious to everyone, and should be something that's very normal, But we're looking at hitting different matrix of thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of transactions per second very quickly. So I can't share the exact details of that, but I just think it's important that you know that that's probably one of my key KPIs is how fast does this work and how secure is it and how many people are going to use it. So we're definitely very keen on answering those questions and getting those numbers to be as as big as we can, so that more and more people are using it, more and more developers are building great projects on it, and it becomes something that is an important part of the growth of Web3. So thank you for your question, Janae.
Yeah, thank you, Brian, for your answer. Two more people, or three, another one popped in the live question. But the next one is Adityo. Let's see if he's available.
Hello guys, can you hear me?
Yes, hello. How are you, Aditya?
Yeah. Okay. So I want to ask, is your testnet still alive?
Yes, the testnet is still going. We have people that are still wanting to use free tokens to build things. So yeah.
Uh, does any recruitment to participate in the testnet?
I'm sorry, I didn't catch that.
If it's possible to participate in the testnet.
Yeah,
I
I can
think
put you in touch. I can put you in touch with someone that can, I think there's links to it on our website, but yeah, we can put you in touch with someone via this group here, and maybe Luda can help us facilitate that. But yeah, you can use that, but I would suggest coming over to the main net as soon as possible, and you can use very small amounts to start to build the mainnet capabilities. But the test net was to get us to the mainnet, and there's some things that are good there, but the mainnet is new, and we're welcoming new projects and new builders on it, so we may be able to help you certain ways that way as well. So yeah, the answer is yes.
Okay, cool. I have another question. Can I go?
Sure.
So do you have an such like ambassador programs? If yes, how can I be one?
So we do have an ambassador program. It's not something that I have the information for here yet, but please, we're going to be announcing this on our Twitter space, or on our Twitter channel, excuse me, and probably doing a Twitter space about this when the time is right. So I would think in the next couple days here, a week or two, there should be more information about that available. So please stay tuned to our Twitter account for further updates on that. Thank you, Aditya.
Okay, cool. Thank you guys. Have a nice day.
thank you. And yeah, again, for everybody, the contacts and links you will find later in the TextAMA channel. Okay, let's continue with Swalpe.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yep, loud and clear. Go ahead.
What are the plans in for global expansion? Are you focusing on market at this time, or focus on building and developing or getting customers and users or partnerships?
Well, so that's a very good question because we're trying to do all of those things. But yeah, we're localizing. We're planning to have events and hacker houses and different types of conceptual regional participation in the ecosystem. And by that I mean the Americas, Europe, Middle East, Africa, Southeast Asia, and then other markets. So it's definitely a localized effort where we're trying to expand it internationally. Um, the second thing is we're always looking for partnerships. We want to build with great companies, with great dApps, with great people that share the same vision as us. So this is another key priority for us during the upcoming weeks and months, is to continue to build excellent partnerships. So yeah, thanks for your question, Salpe, and
Thank you so much.
appreciate you coming on.
Awesome. Freedom, I think, has a second question. Let's go with that. You are online now.
Freedom.
Sorry. I just visited your website and noticed this disclaimer saying that citizens of countries of this OFAC sanctions list are excluded from your services at the moment. Why is that?
That's a good question. That's a legal disclaimer that I'm going to have to check that. I haven't seen that pop up. What country are you calling us from?
Sure.
What country are you calling in from?
Austria.
That's interesting that popped up. I really don't know exactly the answer to that question, but if you drop your email in here, I'll get you a better answer, and we can go from there.
Okay, just as a general question, are you excluding people from that countries for any reason, or do you just don't know why this disclaimer is there?
Yeah, I think it has to do with legal issues in certain jurisdictions, but again, I don't want to comment that on here because I don't really have the talking points, and I'm not exactly sure why that is, but that's interesting to me, and I appreciate you bringing it up, and I'll look into it. So,
okay, thanks.
no problem.
Okay. Then Chucky, I think, is back. Maybe his connection is better now. Let's see. Chucky, you're online? Still seem to have some issues. Then our last request from Tyrone. You should be live now, Tyrone.
Hello, Ryan.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I want to ask, what kind of collaboration are you going to do with Crust Network? What benefits can we have as a normal user?
Well, that's a great question. Our idea is for it to be completely seamless. So, bringing things from one network to the other without having to think about it. That's kind of the goal of what we're trying to do. So, we've built into this cross-chain capabilities from the very layer one, and this is something that we have fully compatible with EVM and Cosmos IBC. So we're able to access quite a bit of the market at present, but our growth plans are definitely to continue to build on this capability and to answer your question, to make the experience as seamless for the user as possible, so that people don't really need to know that much about the different networks. They just know that the products that they're using work, and we think that technologies like Cube will make this possible. So that's my answer.
Got it. Thank you for your answer.
Okay,
Cool.
no problem. Thanks, Lud, and thanks everyone for tuning in. Appreciate it. And Yeah, it's been a great chat.
Awesome. Maybe something I still want to add from our side regarding the integrations of Cubechain with Crust Network. We will announce soon that our flagship product, Crust Files, will be accessible to users with Cubechain accounts. So they can use our decentralized storage functionalities for their personal cloud storage, totally in Web3 environment. And yeah, it's something really interesting. But keep your eyes open for an announcement in the next few days. And if there's anything you feel you haven't addressed yet, Brian, you can do that now. If not, yeah, we still have to choose some of the winners, exactly 4 winners of the questions with $50 worth of Cube token over each. And maybe to summarize again, we had the question about what's Polkadot versus Cube from Freedom, who also addressed the legal disclaim issue in Austria. We had questions about the use cases and what you're going to do for devs and about transaction speed. We had questions about your contacts to Cubechain, how to get involved in an ambassador program, about testnet, and yeah, what's the integration with Crust Network? Yeah, so a lot of questions.
So I think like for me, the winner would definitely be Freedom would get one because I have a rule. Anyone that has a question that makes me sweat, it's a good question, you know. And if I don't know the answer, I want to know soon. So I thank Freedom for bringing that up, and we'll have a good answer for the community on that as soon as possible. So that'd be one. I think that the question in the written here from Mina was also quite a good one about the ultimate mission that Cube. So I think that would be number 2.
Mm-hmm.
Number 3, I think, would be maybe Ama Abdul and his question, and then
Yeah.
I think Aditya would be. Those would be my 4 selection.
Perfect. Awesome. Then we will contact you guys, and then you will yeah, can receive your rewards. Okay, Brian. Thanks for your time. It was very interesting for me personally, but I hope for our community as well to learn about your project. You're working about really exciting stuff. I also see more and more integrations for different use cases when it comes to integrations between Cubechain and Crust Network in the future. I'm looking forward to that. And yeah, otherwise you have the last word if there's anything to add from you. And yeah, that's it from my
No,
side.
I'm just again thankful and grateful and humbled to be here sharing, you know, what I know, a little bit about what I know with this amazing group, and I'm really honored to be announcing, you know, the integration with you guys soon. I think it's going to be very good for users and for the Cube chain as we grow. And no, I want to thank you and the rest of the group for your time, and wish you guys a good rest of the week.
Awesome. Thank you, Brian. Thanks for your time. We wish you a lot of success, and I hope we will keep working together in the future.
I know it will be that way. Thank you, Luda, and to the rest of the guys. Ciao, ciao.
Thank you. Bye. Okay, guys.